we're gonna do this whole Black Ledger sign up adventure thing. You're going to really be needing two things if you're here today to make your character. You're gonna need to log into something called the Forge. You can look up Forge VTT. Should be your top result. You're gonna get a screen like this: fight goblins, not servers. And then you're also gonna need a lovely little website called Pathfinder, 2nd edition, Archives of Nethys. Archives of Nethys does a bunch of different game types from the creators of Pathfinder, but we specifically need to get ourselves to Pathfinder 2nd edition. I think if you're able to get to this video, I have full faith that you will be able to also find your way to this website. So we got a bunch of things here. And probably a lot of them don't make sense on both the left and right side of my screen. But first thing we're gonna do is let's get into the Forge. That's gonna be the important thing. Get into the Forge. So log in / sign up. You're probably gonna have to sign up. It's really easy. You can sign in with Google. You can sign in with Discord. You can just make your own account. I personally handle this through Patreon because I did this a long time ago, back when they didn't have support for the others. So I'm gonna get into my game. I'm gonna get into the server. So you won't handle a screen quite like the one you saw before, but you're gonna see something like this when you join. I will give you the link and all that, but you're gonna have a bunch of logins. You're gonna have, Dean, Jackson, James, Jeff, Joe. Jesus, there's a lot of J's. Chris, Miles, Natalie, Priscilla, Will, and whatever your name might not be on this list yet. We'll find out. But I'm gonna take over the Game Master one, and I will enter my password for myself. And we're gonna see a bunch of just nothing. So this is just currently a blank server. I haven't really put a lot of it together, but I'll quickly walk you through this. So it's gonna look like this. I did some testing last night to make sure all my mods and everything worked. But you're gonna get kind of a screen like this. I'm gonna make this a little bigger so you can all see it. There we go. So you're gonna see a bunch of stuff. This is on the left how you control your character. Some of these things you won't be able to see during your session, but don't worry, those now. You're gonna have tokens. You're gonna have control of tokens as you play, and kind of what we're doing right now is we need to give you a programmed token that you can, imagine this is a big battle map. You have a map, you have a battle, and we need to have little tokens that you can control around and be a part of the game. So to do that, I'm going to delete the character I made last night. Give this a nice fresh start. But it's actually really easy, at least to start. So we're going to press create character, or create actor. Player character for you guys. And I don't have a player character. So I'm just going to quickly make one real quick. I'm going to jump into ChatGPT. You might hate AI, but for this moment, I hope you can handle the fact that I'm using it. So we are going to use hey ChatGPT, can you please give me a Pathfinder 2 character with a random backstory and fill in any of the details you need on your own. Thank you. Always thank your AI when they take over. At least we're nice to them. Lyrial Thorn. God, this thing really likes half-elves. We are a rogue. Background a street urchin. Interesting. Chaotic good. Don't really worry about alignments. They're kind of a little bit outdated at this point. But it's going to give us a bunch of information. So it's gonna give us probably way more information than what we need. But to begin, real quick, we'll pretend that this is your character that you spend a lot of time and effort going into. We have random people. We don't really need to know that, but we have a name. So let's take that name. And we're going to go over to our new actor. I'm just going to plug it in here. Please don't do this. Please create your own character with an actual story in life that you care about. But I'm going to hit create character. And now we have an even more confusing screen. If you haven't played Pathfinder, it's like a D&D character sheet as well, but just more convoluted. You have a lot of everything. and it'll make sense as we go. But we have a name. We have our ancestry. We have a rogue as our class. Background is street urchin, and kind of gives us a little bit of what we need. We can read through this backstory to kind of give us some answers for some other things that we'll be choosing. But for now, we need to go to archives. We have some basic information on kind of like how we want to build this. And then Archives of Nethys is going to tell us exactly how we're going to build it. So this is a community built page that people have built, and it breaks their huge rule book up into these lovely columns. Like, they've done an amazing job with this, and I don't think I could play the game very, very well without this resource. But what we need to do is we need to figure out how the hell we're going to build this. And so we need to really begin with class. So we know we're a rogue. These are all the classes. There's a bunch of them. This one's brand new. These two have been fully redone. If you want to, you can dive into them a bit. Exemplar is interesting. Exemplar is pretty much a god died and showered the world in its shards of power, and suddenly you became pretty much a demigod with the powers of a god that you can channel and harness and do cool stuff with. So it doesn't make you more powerful than the other classes, it just makes you different. But we need rogue. This is the basic art for rogue. It's fun, it's lovely. You'll probably see this a million times on a bunch of different things, but there's a lot here. You got rogue details, rogue feats, kits, sample builds, rackets. You got a bunch of stuff that goes all the way down. And a lot of this you can read. This stuff's lovely. Tells you what you can do, you know, in combat, social encounters, yada yada. It tells you your proficiencies, what you're good at, what you'd expect, what your DC is. It also gives you some awesome things up here of like your attributes. So over here you have a bunch of attributes, and this is like D&D of like, is your character supposed to be based around strength? And sometimes D&D just kind of doesn't tell you, but this kind of really hits you on the head. It kind of just says your key attribute really is dexterity. You can do other stuff as well. It's on the table. There's lots of things you can do with a rogue, but really they're kind of giving you a little bit of hint. They're like, hey, dexterity is kind of important. After that, you have hit points. So 8 plus your constitution modifier is pretty good. It's weird that this is a number you need to be concerned with, but 8's good. We like to see 8. I mean, that's a good number for Pathfinder. Sometimes you see 10. That's really good. So what do we need to know? We need to know some key terms here that they're gonna throw at us a bunch. We have debilitation. So pretty much when you do certain things that are rogue, you can debilitate an enemy. And there's lots of debilitations, lots of sort of conditions you can do, but they're gonna pretty much throw that word at you a lot. Flourish. Flourish is another word they're gonna throw you at a bunch, and it pretty much is something that it's an action you can only do once per turn, and typically they're attacks of some kind. But usually what they mean is that they are very special. They do a certain thing. It's like it is what it is. It's a flourishing ability. There's a lot of chutzpah in that attack, that ability, the movement, whatever it is. And there's lots, and they kind of help set apart some of these more martial classes. You know, usually barbarians don't get flourishes because they're a little more blunt with how they play, but they like to give things like swashbucklers and rogues these abilities to be flashy, to avoid things with a sense of grace and panache. Finally, we have stance. Stance is just a way of you can most of you haven't played World of Warcraft, but there's stuff called like stance dancing. But for our sake, you can jump in and out of certain stances. You can, in those stances, make you better at some things and worse at others, or just better all around. But you have to be careful with them. So they're going to throw that word at you a bunch too. So we've gotten through all that. We got through a good half of this page. And what we really need to know now is we know we're starting this game at level 2. So we'll come over here, make sure that you're set to level 2. They've done a lot of automatic programming for this, so you don't have to build it piece by piece. They're going to help you a lot. What we need to know is, all right, we're level 2, and we need to go step by step. And what are all the things that we're getting? And they put this in order too, a good order, so you know exactly kind of like how you should be doing this. So what we need is we need to start with an ancestry in the background. And as we saw before, we already have an ancestry. Half elf. We have a background. Street urchin. That's awesome. So what we need to do now, we need to put in that ancestry. We know we are half elf. Now, this gets a little weird. So we need to find out what kind of half elf are we. Let's see. Her mother, a human tavern worker. Great. That's what we need to know. I mean, not great that, she struggled to raise our character, but great that we know that she's human. So that's going to be actually our ancestry, which means what we need to do is we actually need to go hit. It's going to be a little weird. If any of you are half elves of any kind, you're actually going to be finding your basic thing. So if you're a human, half elf, you need to find half human. If you're half orc, half elf, you want to find orc. And I'll show you why in a second. But we are going to hit human. Great. Awesome. We did it. But we're half elf. So what do? Okay, well, we have this lovely thing called heritage. It pretty much says, hey, just how your rogues have a subclass, your humans have a sub-race called heritage. It's pretty neat. And wowee, there's already a lot of races. Now there's all these things under each race. Yeah, some of these share, like Beastkin, and, Dampier. And the important one for us is, I'll butcher it. I think Iverin. So, yeah, I butchered that one. But Iverin is pretty much, you have elves or possibly other Iverians in your family tree. We're going to leave it there. Somewhere in your family tree, you have elves. Our character has half elf. It's that simple. And for doing that, we get stuff. It won't show up yet, but we get things for all that nonsense that we just did. And for all that nonsense that we did, we'll get our class, and then it'll start auto-populating a lot of these things that we get. But we also know now we need our background. We know we're a street urchin, and they might not have street urchin. Oh, they do have street urchin, but let's say they didn't. And we know, maybe we worked in a tavern a lot. It also seems like we were in a thieves guild, so it could be maybe we're a thief, a hounded thief. He's the only unique item. This is an option. There's some fun stuff in here, but there's hundreds of backgrounds. And there are some that are literally like, oh, I think there's one that literally says you are the chosen one. Like, you are literally like the main character of the world. Don't choose that one. None of you are going to be the main character of this world. That's going to be somebody else. But you're going to exist in their world where they're the main character. Won't we all? And so we're going to just find the street urchin, because this is not the point of the video to help you show how to create the concepts of a character, but just literally how to put this in Foundry. So we're going to take Street Urchin. We're going to click yes. Look at that. We are human. We are half-elf human. We have our Street Urchin background. And now we need our class. And to do that, it's pretty simple. Big list, all the classes, they're all here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this little rogue, confirm selection. And now it's going to load more stuff because it's going to start putting stuff together. And here comes the other interesting thing. In D&D, we usually level 3 is when we get a subclass. I will say there are plenty, and I know someone's sitting there, Dean, actually, there's a lot that get them at I understand. It's pretty common to get them at level 3. Sometimes you get them at level 2. In Pathfinder, 90% of the time you get them at level 1 or 2. You usually never have to wait till level 3. None that I know of have to wait for level 3. But I could be very wrong here. But what we need to do is we need to choose our subclass, which is always themed to the class in the way that they name it. So don't worry too much about why is it called a racket. It's just thematic. These are all sort of you specialize what your rogue is. And the nice thing is Archives of Nethys keeps it right there. Earlier you probably saw, what the hell's a racket? What's making all that racket? It's this button right here when I click it. You've begun to develop your techniques and approach a job while building your reputation in rogues circles. So, we have a bunch of things. We have a bunch of things here. You want to be an Avenger, an Eldritch Trickster, which is legacy content. You can no longer click this one, it seems. Even though it's still over here, I'd advise clicking anything that says legacy content, because it's not going to be balanced with the current game. You can be a mastermind, or a ruffian, or a scoundrel, or even a thief. Could be fun. We're in a thieves guild, according to this fucking thing. Yep, thieves guild. So no formal membership, but it seems like you're still a thief in some kind. So let's read through these real quick. We'll just do this real quick and give you a sense of kind of like what these things kind of look like. And maybe if you're playing a rogue out there at some point, that's to give you maybe some inspiration to do it. But Avenger, trained to be precise but brutal. Trained to be a precise but brutal weapon by priests of your faith. You eschew complex trickery for swift and deadly efficiency. Subtlety and deception have their uses, but when a false smile fails, your blades have their own way of finding the truth. You are trained in your deity's favored weapon. That's pretty cool. Whenever you gain a class feature that grants you... Oh god, my mess. Whenever you gain a class feature that grants you expert or greater proficiency with a simple or martial weapon, you gain that proficiency rank with your deity's favored weapon as well. You can deal sneak attack damage to your prey with your deity's favorite weapon, in addition to the weapons listed in the sneak attack class feature. When you critically succeed at an attack roll using your deity's favorite weapon, the target has the off guard condition. Off guard in this game, you'll see this a bunch. When you see off guard, you have it -2 AC to whatever has off guard. It's pretty much you've been caught off guard, -2 AC. You get that by flanking. You get that by a lot of things, but you'll most commonly see this by flanking. Rogues love off guard because off guard, if anything has the off guard condition, all of a rogue's attacks get to do sneak attack. And it's not like D&D where you sneak attack once a round. You can sneak attack 3-4 times a round, as long as you keep off guard condition on your target. You also apply the weapon's critical specialization effect. This is another thing that you'll see a lot as a martial, is when you get to a certain point, your weapons get a critical specialization, which means maybe your weapon poisons somebody. Maybe your weapon does quadruple damage on a crit. Maybe your weapon does, octuple damage on a crit. Things like that. The scaling in this game can get pretty crazy, and a lot of room for min-maxing. Finally, you're trained in your deity's divine skill and medium armor. If you're already trained in your deity's divine skill, you are instead trained in another skill of your choice. You can choose you can choose strength as your key attribute modifier. Interesting. So you kind of become a little more of a paladin with sneak attack, is the best way I kind of can put this currently. When you gain light armor expertise, you also gain expert proficiency in medium. And when you gain light mastery, medium mastery. Pretty cool. You become pretty much a paladin / warrior / fighter. Honestly, this looks kind of the most fun to me. Mastermind. This is probably going to be a lot of role play. They usually have a couple role play centric ones. PFS note. If you see a PFS note, that pretty much means when you are playing competitive Pathfinder. And I won't get into that today. You rely on your intellect to craft intricate schemes, planning 10 steps ahead where others might plan 3. You might be a driven detective, a spy master in the service of a powerful house, or an aspiring crime lord or informational broker. If you successfully identify a creature using recall knowledge, which is pretty much, roll a d20, it's a skill check. That creature is off guard against your attacks. Off guard again. So this is actually kind of using your intelligence to get sneak attack. Off guard against your attacks until the start of your next turn. If you critically succeed, it's off guard for a minute. You are trained in society and one of the following skills of your choice: Arcana, Nature, Occultism, Religion. You can choose Intelligence as your key attribute. So this actually lets you fully change how a rogue plays. So here you're probably actually playing more of like, if you're thinking Arcane Trickster rogue, you're playing a much more spell-based rogue, most likely, and you probably will get feats and some fun abilities that give your spells the ability to do sneak attack, which is pretty neat. So recall knowledge is strong, especially the way that critical successes work in this game. We'll get into that at a later point, though. Ruffian. You are trained in intimidation and medium armor. You can choose strength as your key ability score. When you gain light armor expertise, you also gain expert proficiency medium armor. I skipped this whole thing up here, so oops. Let's try this again. You prefer the direct approach: strong, arming, or intimidation. You might be an enforcer for organized crime, a highway bandit, or a noble who bullies others with your threats of your family's power. So you're pretty much a henchman, a goon. You use whatever tools you have at the hand to get the job done. You can deal sneak attack damage with any weapon, not just the weapons listed in the sneak attack class feature. This benefit doesn't apply to simple weapon with a damage die greater than a D8, or a martial or advanced weapon with a damage die greater than D6. Apply any abilities that alter the damage die size first. Critical hits make these weapons gain the weapon's critical specialization if the target is off guard against you. So you can. It seems like you can. Okay, I see. Makes you kind of good with more kind of any weapon. I would say this makes you a little more of a goon. I kind of like the output of Avenger better, but Ruffian's fun. You can intimidate well. You get medium armor. Strength is your key ability score if you want it. When you gain light armor expertise, you also get proficiency in medium, yada yada. So makes you tougher. Strength is more of your thing. You kind of get to use any weapon to do sneak attack, which is kind of a big deal. With how this game's combat economy works. Scoundrel. This might be a little more. Sounds like a deception-based one. You use fast talking, flattery, and the silver tongue to avoid danger and escape tricky situations. You might be a grifter or con artist. You're in the White House currently, or you might use your skills in certain reputable professions, like not a barista, a barrister or a diplomat. When you successfully feint, we won't worry about fainting. That is a big old concept. The target is off guard against your melee attacks until the end of your turn. On a critical success, the target is off guard against all melee attacks until the end. All melee attacks, not just yours. You got a barbarian in the group, you faint, they also get it. That's -2 AC. Think about the amount of times that you've missed someone's armor class by 1 or 2. Off guard's pretty dope. It does not stack though, just to let you know. Until the end of your next turn, not just yours. If you faint while wielding an agile finesse melee weapon, you can step immediately after the feint as a free action. Step is pretty much just you move 10 feet. Sorry, you move 5 feet if your movement is 10 feet, at least. So you at least have to be able to move. You can move 5 feet. You can't step into difficult terrain. So pretty cool. So you're 5 feet, you can, making someone move to get to you in this game, very important. You're trained in deception and diplomacy. You can choose charisma as your key ability score. Finally, thief. Let's see. Finesse melee weapons or finesse. Okay. Thief lets you you can do more consistent damage. You also have a lot of thievery stuff. So main thing, you do more consistent damage with dexterity-based weapons than you normally would. Typically, when you do damage with a melee weapon, you get the damage bonus of your strength modifier. Because rogues are dexterity-based, oftentimes you will dump strength. Therefore, it means you don't get a damage bonus. This is saying you can get all dexterity and you can get the bonuses of strength damage. That's pretty cool. More consistent. I still think Avenger is the coolest one. But it seems like we are a deft dodger, quick draw, thieves tool, dagger, cloak of elven kind, boots of striding. To me, it sounds like we are probably going to be a thief. If I knew a bit more, I'd say maybe mastermind. But it kind of seems like they have mysterious figure in the shadows. While some saw her as a thief. So more of a Robin Hood. So we're going to say thief because that makes the most amount of sense currently. So we're going to say thief. That took a minute. It'll take more time or less time for you. Find out. Cool. Well, what now? Oh gosh, there's a lot of things now. Let's go back to the rogue details. We have done ancestry. We've done background. We have not done attribute. We have not done efficiencies. But we did get our rogue racket. We understand a little bit how sneak attack works. Off guard condition. So strike your creature that's off guard, you get sneak attack. What are the requirements of doing that whole thing? It needs to be an agile weapon or a finesse weapon. We have given up the other 2 rackets, which let us ignore that requirement. An agile or finesse weapon, a ranged weapon attack, or an ranged unarmed attack. You deal 1d6 precision damage. Precision damage is... Precision damage, pretty much what it's saying is, if you do slashing damage, 1d6 precision damage on top of that would also be slashing. So you do 1d6 precision damage on a fire attack, it's 1d6 fire damage. So it's just more precise damage. That's kind of the idea that's getting at. For the following ranged attack with a thrown melee weapon, that melee weapon must be agile or finesse. So you also get an increase at level 5, level 11, and level 17. So for the moment, let's not worry about those. But we got some other cool things. So we need to do attribute boosts. So thief. Let's see what a thief would do. Also, languages. We grew up with a mother who was human and a father who was elven. For the sake of keeping things easy, we're going to do elven. For our language, I get 2. It depends on your intelligence, actually. So the more intelligence you have, if you have +4 intelligence, you get 4 more languages you can learn. It's pretty cool. So, here's our attribute sheet. We already get some fun things. We know human gives us 2 free of any kind. You see, some of these are like street urchin. You can only give a boost to dex or con, and you'll kind of see as it goes. So, it looks like for rogue, we're already locked in. We have to keep dex. We don't get any option to switch it unless we had chosen one of those other things. But we at least know for now. We get 4 bonuses from our first level. So I think for myself, I'm going to say Thief, we don't need strength. Our damage bonus no longer comes from strength. So I'd rather put it into some other things. I'd want to definitely be able to attack better, jump around better, jump around. I'd like to be able to kind of swindle people a bit. I'd like to be smarter, and I'd like to have a little more constitution. So, kind of like that. I think probably charisma and dex are going to be the 2 that I want the most. I want to be able to lie well, and I think I want to be able to jump around well. If I ever get more fainting stuff, which requires deception checks, I'm going to want some more charisma. And then dexterity, just because I'm going to dodge stuff better. I'm going to do more damage overall. That feels good. So, street urchin, I'm going to give up con. I'm going to go straight in for more dex. So, but now this has opened up a second one. Oh, 2 boosts. One must be con. One must be con or dex, and then the other one can be free. So let's double dip into charisma again. So 3 in dexterity. Human, I'm going to give +4 to my dexterity. That's really as far as you can get for dexterity. For any ability, you can really only get to 4 at level 1 and 2 without doing a lot of trickery. Ironically, we're a thief, but you get what I mean. And then we're just going to put the other one in charisma. This is probably not the most balanced build. I'd probably maybe put a little more in con so that I have more HP at level 1. So, give me 2 extra. So, but that will ramp up as I get higher levels. But I'll go for charisma right now. It doesn't hurt just to have a little bit of both of these. So, for that, I'm going to complete. So, now we have that. I get 1 more language because I have +1 in my intelligence. So, and maybe I glanced over this a bit more. There's no rolling. Don't worry about manual entry. This is it. They've made it a really simple system. Depending on your ancestry, you get a certain amount of boosts. Based on your background, you get certain boosts. Based on your class, you get certain boosts. And then every level, you get a certain amount of boosts. It's really simple. You get +1. There's no halfsies or anything. You don't have to worry about, oh, I'm at 13 intelligence. I'm at 15 intelligence. I wish I could just get 1. No, just it's really simple. You're gonna hit complete. You're gonna probably go back to D&D at some point and be a little annoyed with it. What else would be fun though? Let's see. Where did I spend a lot of time? I like dwarves. We're gonna speak dwarven. Awesome. Look at that. We have this whole sheet mostly figured out. 25 foot movement speed, +4 dex, 24 HP. Our 8 armor class is 18. We'll probably get that up to like 19 or 20 after getting some armor. We do have low light vision. Here's our perception check. Initiative works weird in this game, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We'll talk about that in another video. So, with that, we have feats now. We have some empty ones. It says empty slot, empty slot, empty slot, empty slot, empty slot. We do have pickpocket, though. We did get pickpocket from our thief thing, which gives us, you can steal or palm an object that's closely guarded, such as in a pocket, without taking the -5 penalty, which is how it works is if someone is carrying something on their person and it is close to their body, if you try to take that from them, you do a like a sleight of hand check at -5. There's a lot of minuses and a lot of pluses in this game, so pretty much look at this. You get a +5 for pickpocketing than you normally would. You can't steal objects that would be extremely noticeable or time-consuming to remove, like shoes worn, or armor that is actively wielded, or armor or actively wielded objects. If you're a master in thievery, you can attempt to steal from a creature in combat or otherwise on guard. Doing so, stealing requires 2 actions versus 1. You get 3 actions at a time. They mentioned the 2 instead of 1 because there's action economy issues. So, awesome. Love that. Here's our sneak attack thing. Luckily, this auto-calculates into any of the damage rolls. Your rogue's racket, you can kind of look through the others if you want to. Surprise attack. You spring into combat faster than foes can react. On the first round of combat, if you roll deception or stealth for initiative, that's what I was talking about over here. Initiative's weird. If you roll deception or stealth for initiative, creatures that haven't acted are off guard to you. So, pretty much what it's saying is that when it comes to initiative rolls, if you have role played well and put yourself in a situation where you've started combat while deceiving someone or while hiding while combat starts, you get to use your stealth roll instead. So we have normally a +6 perception, but if we do stealth, we have a +8. So higher initiative roll, plus they're off guard if we beat them. So pretty great. Let's see what our deception is. Deception's only +3, but that means stealth is probably good for us to try to get. So we'll put that back under perception because that's typical. So, all right, here's some more fun, but we're getting there. We're almost done. This one might take you a little longer, but we need to know. This is technically one of our initial. Can't think of the name of it. These are kind of like the first things that we do. So, sorry, I was reading for a second. Got distracted. But we also need to do proficiencies. But let's do our ancestry feat first before I get more distracted than I am. Pretty much this is saying like, all right, cool. You're a human, and then you get secondary stuff as we'll get in there real quick. There's a lot you get from your background, and your heritage and all that. So, just from choosing this half elf thing, you get the Arvirian trait, and you get low light vision. In addition, when you gain an ancestry feat, you can choose from your human one, your elf one, or your Avarian one. So you get 300% increased options. Pretty cool. So, and we already know if we go over to our feats. It's not showing it here. So, I guess we'll worry about that for the moment. But we're going to go to our ancestry feats. And, oh gosh. There's a lot. That's okay. So let's see. Gloom Seer. General training. Natural skill. Nimble Elf. Nimble Elf sounds like it might be pretty rogue. You get to move farther. 5 feet increased. Let's see. Sociable. Might give us some more talking skills. You gain the Hobnobber skill feat. I don't know what that is, but we're gonna learn more about that. Woodcraft, which natural skill. Natural skill sounds. You gain trained proficiency rank in 2 skills of your choice. Let's go with that one. That one's getting more skills, always great. So. I didn't want to see Glooms here. Yeah, we already have that. So we're going to toss natural skill in. And when we do that, we are going to need to select 2 skills. And I would say medicine's always a good one. But let's say say deception, and then we'll say diplomacy. We'll get both the D's out of the way. Deception and then diplomacy. Cool. Look at that. And we go over to our skills. Deception, diplomacy. They are now +7. Great. Love that. We have stealth and thievery at 8. Loving the way this is turning out so far. Rogues are good at a lot of things. That's kind of the if you need someone with skills, rogues often your bet. So now we're gonna do class suites. Let's see. We have a handful here. Love the idea of fainting. Tumble behind. Tumble behind is always a fun one. You tumble under and behind your foe. Your rapid movement, letting you catch them off guard. When you successfully tumble through, the foe whose space you pass through is off guard against the next attack you made before the end of your turn. So, if you can't easily get off guard, you can spend an action and get off guard. Pretty fun. It also lets you, technically, if you want, you could spend a movement, you could spend an action, you could tumble through, get behind them, do 2 attacks, one of them with off guard, but it also gives you the option of you could tumble through to a point where you get flanking and then get off guard through all of the attacks. So I like this for maneuverability's sake, but I also haven't seen the others. Overextending. That's cool. Cool. So it's another way to, it makes you a little tankier. I kind of like, and then this is the reaction one. If you see the little whomp, that's pretty much saying it's a reaction. A creature target attacks you with targets you with an attack. You can see the attacker. You're not encumbered. You deftly dodge out of the way. You get 2 AC against the triggering attack. So it's kind of like a shield. Like if you think about a wizard's shield from D&D, it's kind of what you're looking at, like a mini shield for a reaction. So you only get 1 reaction per round, but still, +2 is never a bad thing. So personally, I like the idea of tumble behind. I think I could do more with that. I think they're kind of building a more consistent damage output sort of rogue, and I kind of like that idea for it. So now we need a level 2 class feat. You can see it gives you the little levels up front. So this is going to be a level 2 class feat. Now we got a bunch more. So you could look through this for a very long time. Dedications are strange. You can look through them, but it's pretty much saying, hey, you have your subclass of thief. Do you want another subclass? So there's a lot. That's why you see one up here, monk dedication. You pretty much you start getting monk skills. You don't get them for free. You do have to continue following up with them, but it gives you that ranger dedication. You suddenly can now use the hunt prey thing, which is the main ability of rangers. You could technically get rogue dedication. I don't know why, but you technically can. I'm gonna stick away from that. Let's see. Let's just go to that faint one. We liked the faint one earlier. There's a lot of dedications. Reading. That's fun. Don't want any dedications. Yeah, there we go. There we go. We get rid of the dedication, looking at something a little better. Minor magic. Ooh. Thane's Flowerberry. Swashbuckler stuff. So don't worry about that. Unbalancing blow. This might be more off guard. This could be nice. This gets us another opportunity of off guard. We have a lot of opportunities to get ourselves off guard. Underhanded assault. You sneak up on a foe adjacent to one of your allies. Oh, that's fun. You can sneak from you can sneak up behind an enemy even in combat. It is 2 actions though, but if you do it successfully, you get to do an attack at the end of the sneak, which will get you the sneak attack bonus. So I kind of like unbalancing blow because it gives us, we don't have to do anything for it. It's always there. It's one less thing to think about. And whenever we crit, we get off guard for the rest of the round. So I'm gonna go with that. Okay, awesome. We're almost there. 2 more. 2 more. Empty slot. What do we want to put in there? These are skill feats. Skill feats are a whole thing. There are many skill feats. Terrain Stalker, Titan Wrestler, Vicious Critique sounds interesting. I assume that's, yeah, you can coerce a merchant. You know what we're gonna do? This is level 1 one. Ooh, we already have Pickpocket. Love it. Oddity Identification, no cause for alarm. Lie to me. We're going to do... skill training, because it's easy. Select a skill. I want to be better at acrobatics. Our acrobatics is muy bueno. Lastly, we're gonna look through. Let's look at the level 2 ones. Backup disguise. Backup disguise sounds fun. Godless healing. That's fun. You can be a tattoo artist. We're going to... we'll do Godless Healing. I want to explain why. Healing is a strange thing in this game, and you'll figure it out as you play a bit more. But yeah, look at that. We have done all of our things. So we've built a character. The last thing we need to do is we don't have anything in our inventory. That's not that great. So let's grab some stuff. Let's grab some equipment real quick. Should be a little hourglass here, and there's several thousand items in here. So what we can at least do is there should be a kit. Adventurous pack. Adventurous pack is pretty easy. Should be over here. Rogue kits. That's fine. We at least can know. We just know what we're looking for. So. This is very odd. Well, we leave no adventurers pack. We just toss in here. That'll go with a bunch of stuff. And then we do know that we need leather armor. Let's see, leather armor. Toss in here. We can do. Now we need a dagger. We just jump out of this. We go to weapons and shields. Dagger. And a rapier. And then we have the adventurers pack. This is what we dragged in here. And then now we optionally can spend 3 gold for a thieves kit. I will say, yeah, let's do it. We are a thief. It makes sense for us to have a thieves toolkit. So with that, we have 6 gold and 2 silver. So we spent 3. That means we are going to have 3 gold. So let's do that. 3 gold, 2 silver pieces. Add the coins. You might not be able to do this as a player. It might be a DM thing that I can add. But with that, we can add our worn. It's all worn. Worn as armor. Thieves toolkit. And there we go. You can find some art, upload it in here, or ask me to upload it in here. But this is our character. Lyrael, something like that. Thorn. Who knows? I'm not an elf. I can't speak it. But we've done it. We built a character. So we've logged into Foundry. We've made our character. We can put them on the battlefield. We can zoom in. And we can move them around. Look at that. They're for some reason low HP. There we go. Look at them go. I can turn them around. That's our little video. You should be able to get through some character creation like that. You can just make one for now. If you're feeling really creative and you want to make a couple, you can. If you have any issues making characters, let me know. I'm gonna delete this one. Actually, no. I'll leave this here in case people need to see it. When you need to log in, let me know. Everyone has their own specific login. I have your login information. So when you're ready, you'll click your name and then yada 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 yada. You'll enter your code and you'll be able to jump right on in and start crafting. But yeah, it was that simple. I mean, I used ChatGPT, I used a class kit, and I used one tab on Pathfinder on Foundry. Pretty straightforward. If you need help getting into Foundry, I will make sure that everyone has the link. I can write up a little Google Doc guide kind of following how this goes, and you'll be off to the races in no time and prepped for our session later.